Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing to be here, and this time I'm going to tell you a story. It's like a fairy tale, but not a fictional one. It's a true one. It's a story of my life. Once upon a time, in a little town in Hungary, 73 years ago, a boy was born. That was me, 73 years ago, as I told. Later, I went to the university and graduated as an electric engineer and worked at different companies as a lighting expert. I got some scientific awards, and I even was elected as the vice president of the Hungarian Lighting Society.
It's an improvement, darling.
But, thank you. But it's not the reason why I'm here now. Maybe many of you are familiar with my face. So raise your hand if you see me before on the monitor. Do I see well? Everybody? Amazing, incredible. So it might be because my photos are circulating in the internet in millions of copies. When I post something on a social network, thousands of people will see it. Some of my videos were seen by millions. Day after day, I got dozens of messages. I brought you just a few examples to show the style and the content of these messages. This one is from a girl named Julia who lives in Italy, and she wrote me, "Thank you for bringing genuine joy and tenderness in this gray world." I hope I do. Another one is from the USA, from a certain Mason. He wrote that, "I loved watching your video, seeing your genuine happiness filled me with my own." And just one more from another continent, from Pakistan, from Muhammad. He wrote that, "I am the best inspiration to the sad people of the earth." Am I? But how can a retired engineer become a meme? It's a strange story with some interesting twist, and it maybe has some lesson to learn. At least I hope so. At the beginning, my photos served as illustration in different internet publication, printed publication, newspaper articles, advertisements, and so on. But later, you could see me mostly with some funny caption called meme. Many of my own ages have not even met this word. I also had to look at it in Wikipedia. So I found this definition for memes, that it is an image, a video, a piece of text, and so on, typically humorous in nature, that is copied and spread rapidly by internet users, often with slight variation. That perfectly applies to my case. It started in a very ordinary way, with a vacation in Turkey. I think everybody has sometimes vacation, and we all want to capture our vacation experiences with some photos, and we want to show them to our relatives and friends and to our families. So did I. I uploaded these pictures to a social network, not Facebook, it didn't exist that time, to show them my friends. But not only there, a professional photographer noticed this picture too, and he contacted me writing that he was seeking a model, a character like me, and invited me for a trial shooting. Well, deep inside, I think everybody is a bit vain. I'm not different. So I said yes to the invitation and went for this trial shooting. He made some pictures, he liked them, I liked them too. He invited me back, and during several sessions, a couple of 100 pictures were made, stock photo pictures. I knew that what these pictures are used for, he told me, and I gave a written contribution when I agreed to use the pictures to that purpose. I only highlighted 3 sensitive areas where I didn't want to see myself on the monitor or in print. What do you think what these topics were? First was politics, religion, and sex. Because these are the topics that can divide people the most, and that's I didn't want to do that. Thank you. A few weeks later, let's say a few months later, I was wondering what my pictures were used for. So it was enough to run a Google search, an image search, and I was reassured seeing myself when I was a doctor. I appeared on a hospital's homepage. Like here. But when a few months later, I repeated the search, I discovered the first memes. Just an example, maybe everybody is familiar with this picture, the portrait of American presidents carved in rock in Mount Rushmore in the United States, and they were transformed. Each president was me. Well, that was a funny thing, and I like it. But not only such funny memes were born, but there were some rude or offensive ones too. And at first, it was a shocking experience. I didn't know what to do. My first reaction was that let's finish this. Let's disappear everything. And I thought about the options. What could I do? Can I withdraw the pictures? No, I contributed in writing to use them. Of course, in their original form, and not to alter them and convert it into jokes. The second option was to close down the site. It was an American guy who gathered my photos, my stock photos, and announced a contest among their friends about who could add some funny text or to make some visual joke. And that was the way these memes were born. So can I close the site? Definitely I could. At least I could initiate to closing the site. But it's the internet's nature. If nothing disappears from internet, if I could close a site, on the next day, 3 others will open with the very same content. So it's no solution, or at least only a temporary solution. So my only hope was that so many new things appear day after day on the internet, the people will slowly forgetting about me and about my funny memes. Well, I must say I was totally wrong. The propagation of the images didn't stop, and even more and more countries joined to this mania. It started in the United States and went over to Europe and spread out through every continent of the earth. I must tell that during the shooting, the photographer asked me to smile. Like this.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
But the internet people discovered or felt that this smile was not really heartfelt. They saw some hidden sadness or pain behind it. So that's why I got the name Hide the Pain Herald. Still so that people will forget, and this mania will cease. But then an internet user somehow discovered my real identity and sent me an email writing that there are so many people who don't believe that I'm a real living person, a human being. So he asked me to show myself that I am a real living person. I ignored his request, but he repeated again and again. And finally, I agreed to upload maybe a familiar picture, me with a piece of paper in my hand that I live. In the next few hours, as people say, the internet has exploded. 10,000 of people saw this picture, and the international media discovered me as well. Then there's nothing left to me than to embrace the whole thing and to make a coming out. So I established my home pages on the social networks. Like this, for instance, and this whole thing made a dramatic change in my life. I got invitation to great places like London, or I'm here in Kyiv today. It's great to be here.
It's an improvement, darling.
And I know that
It needs to be about
the whole
20%
thing,
cooler.
being Hide the Pain Herald,
Darling.
is a role play.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
It's not really me. It's a role given to me by the internet people. And we have learned from Shakespeare, who wrote in one of his plays, that all the world is a stage, and every man and woman are merely players. And my part is being Hide the Pain Herald. But it made my life very exciting and interesting.
This is important.
With many new opportunities. For instance, there's a pop group, they sing in English, and they invited me for the shooting of a video clip. And after that, also invited me to appear on the stage on one of his
It needs to be
concerts
about 20% cooler.
with a big success, as you can see.
Oh my.
But not only smiling this way, but I also had invitation where I was not smiling in short films or in commercials. Why did I? Thank you.
You use your fancy mathematics.
Why did I tell you this story? Of course, not everyone can be a meme. Maybe I'm the first and only one. And the things that happened to me will never be repeated with anyone else. But I think it's of more general importance that after reaching the retirement age, and not only retired, I think in every part of your life, you must be aware of new things, to do things you've never done before. You have to be open to the new opportunities, be open to what happens in the world, and to try yourself in any field you can. For instance, I tried myself after I was a meme for 5 years in a small local radio station as a music DJ. And very recently, this year, I attended at an art camp
It needs
when
to be
I
about
learned
20%
to
cooler.
make oil paintings. This is my first oil painting, The Birds of Pallas Athene, when he pops up out of Zeus' head. And of course, it's much more enjoyable to make fun with young people than to listen to the medical complaint of my contemporaries. And finally, one more thing. There are 3 rules how to become famous. Unfortunately, nobody knows what they are. So am I. So, thank you very much for your attention.
It's an improvement, darling.
Talking away, I don't know what I'm to say, I'll say it anyway. Today's another day to find you, shine
It needs to
away.
be about 20% cooler.
I'll be coming for your love, okay? Take on me, take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. so needless to say, of odds and ends, but I will be stumbling away, slowly learning that life is okay. Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. Take on me, take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two.
For them. For me. For Equestria. I'd like to be a tree.
What's up, gamers? It's me, punished post-hack best guy ever. So even though I've got this channel back, times are tough for an internet boy on the go. 5,000 subs lost, a month's worth of ad revenue down the drain, 6 out of 7 channels still in limbo, not to mention my sizable investment in Ripple XRP returning only moderate yields, despite a trusted source informing me it's supposed to be going to the moon. I've hardly been the cutthroat capitalist role model I aspire to be. Until now. Remember how Weagwa was always supposed to have advertisements embedded into them? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Abyss Horizon. It's finally here, the most anticipated new gacha game of the season. Abyss Horizon is a stirring coming-of-age tale where not everything is what it seems. About the power of love and learning to work as a team. Will our heroes be able to defeat the dastardly Eva teeth monsters despite their winning smiles? That's up to you! But of course, the real story are these battleship anime waifus. Collect them, power them up, and bash them torpedo first against all who oppose your supreme domination. I played it for several hours and it was legitimately addictive. Watch yourself, boys. And let me show you what we in the biz call a pro gamer move. They won't teach you this one in the textbook. Now this is the power of math. So click the link in the description and give it a try. It's free to play, unless you want some extra crystals, you eager beaver. So what's the harm? Thank you, Abyss Horizon. Doesn't it just feel right to have a sponsor on a Weagwa? I feel like we finally reached our final form here on the final episode of Weagwa. I'm sorry, what? Also, check out the RadCon 4 Kickstarter. It's ending in like a couple hours. Okay, on to the video. Bye. Bam! Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, to consume BGE's best stuff ever of the decade?
Oh boy!
To hell with these stupid categories, I put everything in one big old list, and we're gonna find out what's the best stuff that came out over this last 10 years. It's time to separate the wheat from the chaff and crown some stuff top shit. On this week's Weagwa! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to 2020 and Why I'm a Genius Weekly. Like I said, there's a decade behind us now and it's time to reflect on the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's exactly what I have here for you today. I am mixing every genre, every type, everything I've consumed. It's all up for accountability. Old mediums, new mediums, etc. All my favorite stuff of the 2010 decade. The top 20 places. But, important to note, there is a list right here of things that I either have not consumed yet, have not completed yet, or that I need to re-experience that I feel might be being left off the list. These are all the sorts of things I plan to consume at some point, but just haven't had a chance yet. You might see this list change in the future if I were to remake it after having consumed some of these. And if you're wondering, a lot of the things you see here, as well as my top 20 things, may end up being reviewed on this channel sometime in the future, so keep your eyes peeled for that. So a lot of these are things I just haven't seen yet, but one's like Kill a Killer on there, because I did see it, but I don't think I got it and need to watch it again. Konosuba the show I never quite finished, etc, etc. And with that said, let's jump right into number 20 of my best stuff of the decade, the album Divers by Joanna Newsom. If you recall back to when I did Me a Math of a 1, I did a full review of all of Joanna Newsom's albums. That's a total of 4 albums, and her most recent one was Divers, released in 2015. For a classically trained pianist and harpist such as her, with her whimsical vocals, it was right hitting the money for me, just as I've been hoping for since Have One On Me, her previous album in 2010. While Have One On Me was a triple album loaded with bullshit, Divers was a more focused, more refined album for me with higher highs. So if you like weird avant-garde folk music, get yourself a copy of Divers or anything Joanna Newsom's made and listen to it. Moving on, number 19. Little known anime that's been coming out over the last couple of years, Mob Psycho 100. A show I covered fairly recently in Weagwas with the season 1 and 2 following the webcomic by One, creator of One Punch Man. Art style, creativity, lovable characters, and genuine hilarity make Mob Psycho one of the most classically enjoyable anime, in which watching it reminded me of how I felt watching anime when I was a kid, staying up late to watch Toonami and Adult Swim, etc., etc. With the core message of the series being an infinitely powerful psychic mob finding little worth in his broken, overpowered abilities that stack every interaction he has in life in his favor. It's a power he did nothing to earn, and therefore he feels it has no value. Where have I heard that before?
Something given has no value.
While similar in nature to One Punch Man with the broken main character and more amusing battles happened by other characters in the series, while both being somewhat meta critiques of the tropes that they encapsulate, Mob Psycho is a far more positive story filled with messages about how life takes effort, but it's all worth it in the end when you work for something and earn it. Fantastic show, everyone should watch it. Moving on, number 18. Oshiete Galco-chan, Please Teach Me Galco. Featured, of course, in my most popular video ever, Defying Stereotypes in Oshiete Galco-chan Best Anime Ever. Galco-chan is a beautiful, extremely short anime filled with humor and a lot of unexpected pathos, in which we see a narrative of an extremely attractive girl upon which many people make assumptions. And by getting to know her a bit better throughout the series, we learn that much of it is unfounded, but not just Galco. That goes for many of her classmates and associates as well. With the final flashback revealing how our core group of friends met initially, just really hitting that final nail home. An incredibly endearing, wonderful series, and I'm not gonna lie, gets major points for being short and beautiful and not wasting my time. Mwah! Keep it coming, Japan. Number 17, Whiplash. Released in 2014, directed by Damien Chazelle, and starring Mr. Incredible and Pictures of Spider-Man. Whiplash is a story about a passionate young man going into music school for drumming, which are his heart's desire and passion. It's something of a coming-of-age tale as the main character grapples with what he wants to get out of life and where he wants to be, what kind of a mark he wants to leave behind. Dealing with the expectations of his family and his friends, although ironically, unlike most stories, their expectations might be a bit too low. Cut to Jonah Jameson, the hardest motherfucking drum teacher in the game, grilling this man and telling him that good isn't good enough. If he wants to be a drummer, he needs to be the best. Beginning an extremely personally costly career path about being an unbelievably talented drummer, in which the teacher puts direct obstacles in his path to spur him on to greater heights. As the two, in a healthy way or not, come to an understanding that they both believe that there is nothing more destructive in this world than saying good job. Because you can always do better. This film is perhaps slightly controversial, at least in my reading of it, because many people take away the unhealthy obsession that the main character has with drumming. When I look at it, I see a man who's so driven by a passion that he is willing to sacrifice major things in his life to get it, including personal relationships and any other activities. And the people who really understand him, such as his teacher, are trying to help him pull that out of himself. Other people consider it an abusive relationship. Who knows? Anyway, it's pretty much the poster child MGTOW movie. Check it out. And now for something completely different, number 16, Nichijou. Nichijou is a 2011 KyoAni Productions anime adapting a manga of the same name. It depicts a couple of charming characters in a small-ish city just living life and interacting with each other as the title describes in normal daily life. With some unexpected twists like a scientist who makes a robot girl, a genius professor child who makes a cat able to talk, etc., etc. The thing that stands out about Nichijou is its relatively middling reception at the time, but the unbelievable amount of production quality that went into it. KyoAni certainly established a pattern for themselves of dramatically upgrading series that they get their hands on to adapt. We all know the future of that's been thrown massively into question due to the tragedies that happened to them this year, but that's not relevant to this particular review. Nichijou is a delight to the senses, hilarious, unexpected, and with some great heartfelt moments that you can just kick back and enjoy, as I did while getting drunk so often in college. One of the most delightful series I've consumed over the last many years. With one additional personal detail about this show being that the two opening songs that feature male and female voices were by this guy named Hyadane, who I originally knew as a YouTuber who would record his own voice, mix them to be both male and female voices, and did Final Fantasy covers. Also Dragon Quest, which is kind of largely what got me into Dragon Quest to begin with. So it just warms my heart to see that Hyadane really made it big and was able to make such a large impact on the industry with some amazing openings everybody loves on Nichijou. Watch it, have fun, and feel great about life. Moving on, number 15. Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Coming in just over the wire in 2010, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy has been a celebrated album ever since. While Kanye's first few albums are certainly beloved, they happen to be my favorite albums, this kicked off a new era of higher celebrity than he had ever reached before, where he truly reached his king of the game status. Songs like Dark Fantasy, Power, and All of the Lights give the album an unbelievable gravitas, while tracks like Runaway give it an incredible emotional openness, something Kanye was never shy about in his career. But combined with the glitz and glamour of the album makes her a very unique audio experience. What can I say? One of the albums that made me fall in love with Kanye. He's been a little bit of hot water, been a little controversial ever since. Don't give a shit. This album fucking rules. Go listen to it and enjoy. Number 14, Disney's Tangled. What can I say? I'm a sucker for musicals, and I absolutely love the story of Tangled. Rapunzel is one of my favorite Disney princesses. It tells the adapted story of Rapunzel, the girl with the long hair trapped in her tower. But in this version of the story, she meets a handsome man who saves her. You know, I don't actually know the original story of Rapunzel. Maybe it happens in that too. Anyway, the real deal behind Tangled is it's a story of toxic relationships. Who are we to trust in this grand, wide world? Where do we really belong, and who can we find to love? These are the issues that Tangled tackles in beautiful fashion. Songs like When Will My Life Begin and At Last I See the Light are true Disney bangers. This was the beginning of Disney's shift into the 3D era, and of course, they've been top of the game ever since, although I must admit, I missed the 2D animation that ended with Princess and the Frog. What can you do? But that's no shade against Tangled. The movie is absolutely incredible. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Watched it all the time. Mwah. It's good. Number 13, and I need both hands for this because this is where things change a little bit. We're talking about a YouTuber and his content. That being the Horseshoe Saga and Horseshoe Finale by Endless Jess, formerly known as Drowning in Horseshoes. Endless Jess is a good friend of mine, and his series of Drowning in Horseshoes videos was made alongside me and my friends' work, reviewing My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which is how I got started on YouTube. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, Jesse was one of the guys who inspired me to begin with, and I've long considered one of the funniest people on the platform, but his series of Horseshoe reviews, culminating in Horseshoe Finale, are still some of the most amazing content ever produced on this platform. Obviously, it wouldn't be that interesting if they were just reviews of a children's pony show, right? Well, you're in luck, cause it ain't. Jesse manages to create this narrative that not only speaks to the actual show itself, but gets at the heart of why people enjoyed this show to begin with. Such as him, a big asshole from Michigan who you wouldn't think would be into a show like this, as well as the vast autistic hordes that gravitated it to as well. What is it that brings us all together to enjoy this thing? This is one of the things Jesse talks about. And beyond that, the most interesting facet of it is Jesse's unique insertion of his own personal story into this saga. Jesse's Horseshoe Finale is basically a treatise of his entire career as a YouTuber, and especially his time in the pony community. Cutting deep into his own psychology, his critiques of his contemporaries, and a little bit of praise for his friends here and there, that always sits well with me. It's a fascinating dive into one man's view of the world, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. Now, it's true, this content's a little bit hard to get into, as it was made in a specific time and place, and you have to be at least a little bit into this show to begin with. But if you put in the energy to follow it from the start and understand it all, you're in for a hell of a ride. Great work, Jesse. Can't wait to see more. Moving right along, everybody, it's number 12, Mr. B-Tongue's Mass Effect review series. Mr. B-Tongue, like Endless Jess, has been a big inspiration for me as a YouTuber, and his original series of videos on his channel, critiquing the rollout and failure of the Mass Effect 3 ending, is the stuff of legend to me and my contemporaries. As someone who had not played Mass Effect at all up to this point, I was absolutely blown away by the tale told by this man about a little game studio, BioWare, that started to make something magical and then got bought out by EA, and something changed. However, none of that saved them from the fact that clearly the ending of the series that was designed to be the cumulative effect of a 3-game release structure wasn't planned from the start, and that's why they fucked it up. Stories like this are one of the main reasons why I am so cynical about trusting game companies of any stripe, especially with multi-piece releases. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm talking to you! All in all, an incredibly entertaining, influential, and thoughtful review of a fascinating game series that so many have played. One day I'll play Mass Effect, I swear. Looking forward to it. Unfortunately, Mr. B-Tongue doesn't post too frequently, but I look forward to it with great interest next time we see him. Now, I swear this wasn't intentional, it's just how it broke down, but we've got another YouTube series. That's right, I'm talking about number 11, Twin Perfect's The Real Silent Hill Experience. This series was a long production, technically still ongoing, series of videos about these guys reviewing every piece of the Silent Hill canon. This is another situation where I came into these reviews having not played or known anything about Silent Hill, enjoyed this review so much and to such depth that I went back and played them all. Okay, I only played a couple of them, but I'm working on it. I plan to eventually. Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3 are obviously must-plays for anybody. Again, this being a series that dives deep into the inner workings of a company, peeling apart what went wrong with things like the HD remaster, the voice actors debacle, things of this nature. These have got to be the most meticulous researchers of any YouTuber I have ever seen. That combined with the professionalism of their production and their ability to incorporate humor makes for productions that I can't help but salivate over to this day. If you have any interest in Silent Hill or just the tale of a company twisting a series and not doing it justice in the long run as it strays farther and farther from the original team that made the core games that spin-offs are using to push their units, this is a place for you. Twin Perfect had gone for a while without posting anything significant, which made me think that their channel possibly might be dying, and then they come out of nowhere with an over 3-hour review of Twin Peaks. Something that utterly blew me away, as these boys are so clearly focused on making quality content and not just fucking around with videos here and there. I'm still making my way through season 3 of Twin Peaks so I can watch their fucking review of it, but I could not be more excited to do so and cannot wait to do it. Their work is incredible, but go watch the Silent Hill Experience. What already exists is incredible, and if there's any more pieces to come, there'll just be more cherries on top. Top 10 alert, everybody! Top 10 alert! That's right, we're in the top 10 now, which totally matters and isn't arbitrary. Number 10 of my favorite things of the decade, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This movie doesn't need a lot of introduction. This might be the most gorgeous animated movie I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. The incredible 3D work, the stylized visuals and colors used for it, and an unbelievably empathetic narrative about loss and friendship and love and what it means to be a hero. I just don't know how you could do any fucking better. This movie is a fucking masterpiece. Is it a little by-the-numbers hero story? Sure. But that's not really what it's about. It's about the fucking visuals. This is one of those times where the story is there enough to keep me interested the whole time, but really it's about the visuals. All the different spiders from their different universes, their different animation styles, the way they clash and interact in the world. Oh my god. Cannot believe how beautiful it is. With things like Peter's relationship with Mary Jane being strained and sad, pulling me along and jerking my heartstrings, making me hope that everything could work out okay. Just an incredible experience. Fantastic.
It needs to be about
Kind of
20%
cannot believe
gore.
it actually exists. And it's a Sony production. What the fuck happened? Good work, everybody. On to the next one. Hey, there's a bug down there.
For me.
Ew, gross.
Equestria.
It's number 9. Hollow Knight. I love Metroidvanias. I love beautiful 2D animation. I love Hollow Knight, the unbelievably low-priced action platformer game featuring bugs with Dark Souls levels of lore. I've played this game through many times. It does the Metroidvania formula perfectly, while delivering ungodly amounts of content with free DLCs that they were rolling out, despite the game only being $15 fucking. What the hell is going on? Just a little look at the footage will tell you why this game is so great. Amazingly balanced action, amazingly balanced combat and platforming abilities, legitimate flexibility and diversity of gameplay style, with the charms you get that give yourself different attack styles and whatnot. A huge cast of characters that it's delightful to discover, with the world being absolutely jam-packed with lore and joy. Team Cherry has made a fucking modern classic with this one, which they did off the back of Kickstarter support. So thank God for that fucking website, huh? And the endgame delivered in the latest DLC has possibly the most insanely difficult boss gauntlet I've ever seen in a game, and I have not been able to fucking beat it. Behind which is hidden massively important lore. The stones on Team Cherry to hide that shit behind this gauntlet. Jesus Christ. A lot of people have said this game is too hard, but fuck that. I want to break my spine with difficulty so I feel joy when I finally achieve goals. Fantastic game. Everybody play it. Cannot wait for the sequel, Silk Song. Amazingly, it looks even better. Fuck yeah! Number 8. Steven Universe, the movie. So, in the movie installment of Steven Universe, we've cut to a few years after the main series had wrapped. Steven has finished his
It
quest,
needs to be about
saving the world
20%
from the
gore.
gem colonization efforts, has made relative peace with his past, and has
Wow,
grown up
that's
little
really
by
impressive.
little. When all of a sudden some ghosts from his mother's past show up in the form of Spinel, sexiest gem girl I've ever seen. Her with her Brooklyn accent and broken heart dance their way into our lives by killing all the main characters until we're able to learn her tragic backstory, abandoned by Steven's mother. It's a plot dealing with personal trauma and the desires of the abused to lash out against all people around them. A subject matter that's sadly relevant today, and I think speaks to that fact. Steven Universe has always been a show about empathy first, but this really hit a sweet spot for me. In my opinion, kind of tackling the incel question head on in the form of Spinel, all the while delighting my senses with Rebecca Sugar's music. Hey, if you like Steven Universe, this is probably going to be the best thing ever made for the series. I certainly do, so I loved it. Number 7. The One Punch Man anime. It's something of a miracle that this fucking asshole One would make a webcomic about literally Power Man, the strongest guy who can beat any foe. Terrible artwork, doesn't look like it's gonna be anything. But the world took notice. The webcomic got so popular that it got remade by Yusuke Murata, famous for drawing Ishul 21, among other things, and that combination has catapulted the series into the big stage, with an anime adaptation that is on the one hand beautiful to look at, and two, oddly resonant with a huge swath of your average audience. I'm talking about how famously people like Bill Burr, boomer-ass comedian, loved One Punch Man because the subject matter was poignant. It was about existential dread, about having no purpose left in life. This being Saitama's main curse as a man who wanted to be a hero for fun, but now is too strong and can't get any joy out of it. But him juxtaposed with the struggles of his fellow heroes who are putting their lives on the line every day, and we feel that commitment. People like Licenseless Rider and Puri Puri Prisoner and the rest. An anime that's a delight to the senses, but I haven't seen season 2 because it doesn't look as good. So I'm not counting. Hope season 3 is better. Number 6. Made in Abyss. Episode 1 of Made in Abyss stood out to me firstly due to the incredible soundtrack by Kevin Penkin. I cannot overstate how important that is for the review I'm about to give of this anime, which is as follows. There's a giant island out there in the world with a giant fucking hole in it, and this is no ordinary hole. This is a magical, cursed hole in which the last secrets of the planet exist. People are pulled from all over the world to plumb its depths, with the urge to do so feeling almost more like a deep obligation rather than some lust for treasure. Something's up with this fucking hole, man, and our main characters are gonna take a peek. Rico and Rem being the two adorable little children who are preparing to adventure down it to discover the truths of their histories. But this ain't no normal run through the park, because this hole has very specific properties. Namely, you cannot come back up out once you have gone too deep. If you do so, you will bleed and you will die. Therefore, this is a one-way journey that these children are about to take. They're giving up their lives to do it. This is an extremely bleak show, and these facts are handled with the gravitas that they deserve. Things get insane.
needs to be about
Limbs are
20%
chopped
gore.
off. Excessive blood explodes out of bodies. Poisonous pustules have to be excised and dealt with. As the real shit that these characters are dealing with gets more intense the deeper they go in that hole, down to a level that no one has come back from ever. The feeling of commitment of these characters to this journey, with the expectation of only death waiting for them at the end, but answers. An incredibly somber, incredibly dispiriting series, but there's a little bit of light in there, because along the way, they meet good people who help them. They meet Nanachi, another person cursed to live in this hole, but who's making a go of it and is willing to help them in their quest. The pathos, the commitment, the earnestness of the series cannot be questioned. And again, Kevin Penkin's score is unbelievably good. I have not heard anime music this good since Dragon Ball Z, my dude. After finishing the anime, I went ahead and kept reading the manga. And I must say, it has not disappointed yet. I just yearn for more. I want those answers. This series probably has the best atmosphere of anything on this list. It's good. Top 5, baby, top 5. Here we go. Number 5. Red Letter Media's Star Wars reviews. Topping the charts for YouTube content produced in this last decade is, of course, the legendary Red Letter Media reviews. Mr. Plinkett reviewing the prequel trilogy of Star Wars that's something of a foundational pillar for all analytical YouTubers. We all know it. We all love it. it started something special, and Red Letter Media has become something of a role model for many of us. It being the first of these YouTube series in which my eyes started to be open to the truth of corporate interest, incompetent management of companies, and a lack of capability from people that we believe as gospel to be greats. It was truly an educational experience to see all those years ago, as I was somebody who went to the midnight showings of most of the prequel movies, because my brain wasn't on yet. But you know, even back then, I might not have understood it, but my brain did. Absolute legends, absolute mad lads. Here's to many more years to come of great Red Letter Media content. Number 4. Here's a shocker, everybody. One Piece 2010 to 2019. Now, hey everybody, you all know that I love One Piece. Go check out the podcast for my weekly videos about it. But I'm not lumping all of One Piece under here. That wouldn't make sense. I'm talking about all the chapters of One Piece, this over 20-year-long series started in 1997. And I'm counting all the bits of it that came out between 2010 and 2019, which, if you remember correctly, is around the time that Marineford was ending, the flashback, and now all of the New World up to today. I often say that One Piece is my favorite thing ever. And it is. But in the One Piece circles of the world, there's been some discussion about how One Piece hasn't been as good lately as it was in its early days. Now, while I'm sympathetic to a degree to these concerns, I think that case is a bit overstated, and more of what's happened has been a transformation of the series. At the beginning of the adventures in the 90s and the 2000s, we were establishing our main cast, we were beginning to explore the world and head for the Grand Line to make Luffy into the Pirate King. But this last decade has been the second half of that journey that's coming to a close in a couple more years, I'd say. So largely that period has been about, now that we established the basic premises of the world, it's about those agents interacting and honing things down to the final spurt to the finish line. With this decade capped off with some images of Gold Roger himself, the Pirate King, finding One Piece back in the day, which is of course leading us into our final arcs of the series as we finally learn what One Piece is. When it comes to subjects like people feeling with this reveal that Oda might be a hack, not having planned things out, and are being disappointed looking forward to the future, I do not share those feelings at all. I feel that everything is still going according to plan. Oda has long said he's had a plan for the ending of the series, and I see many avenues he could use in order to make the ending satisfying for basically all parties. So I do not share the pessimism that some people have about One Piece having an unsatisfying conclusion, and therefore this 10 years of journey feels full of meaning to me. Moments like the gang meeting up after the 2-year time skip, Otohime and Fisher Tiger of Fishman Island, the final, somewhat curious, defeat of Doflamingo at the end of Dressrosa, the unbelievable pathos of the Zou arc and the Raizo reveal, direct conflicts against the Yonko, the strongest opponents in the series yet, of Luffy versus Katakuri, for which I've made several videos on this channel that I encourage you to go check out. One Piece, like many of us, has matured and grown up since it started, but there is still so much good in it that even I, somebody who shits on little details here or there in chapters, always tries to make it clear how much I love this series to this day. Godspeed for another decade of One Piece, Oda. Sail on, my Pirate King. Number 3. Undertale. Undertale's a little video game, you might have heard about it. Oh wait, that's the wrong song. Megalovania, Sans, Frisk, Undine, everybody loves Undertale, right? Well, maybe not everybody. Undertale was this amazing video game that came out of nowhere from this piece of shit motherfucker Toby Fox, who had never done shit up to this point. He had worked on Homestuck, he had made a couple of mods for Earthbound and whatnot. But then he drops this Kickstarter project for Undertale. It's got this demo that first seems pretty basic, the sprite work isn't that amazing, blah blah blah. But then I beat it, and I start doing resets, and I start exploring the mechanics more in depth. And I realize we're embarking on a journey bigger than I thought possible. Undertale is one of those games that happened to hit the perfect mark for me. I undervalued it at first. I did not think it was going to rise to my expectations, and then it blew them out of the water. As I so lovingly detailed on Best Game Ever Undertale all those years ago, Undertale is a game with many facets that go so far beyond what I thought this man would be capable of cramming into this game that it blows my mind to this day. And I like to think that its unbelievable success since that point is a product of this thoughtfulness that went into the project, whether the consumers know it or not. The memes are endless, the shit posting on people who are too passionate about it, that's all true. But at the core of this thing, when you forget about everybody else and you just sit down and do a playthrough of Undertale, you are treated to an experience unlike any game I had ever played before. One that uses the meta elements of game playing far beyond any game I'd played up to that point, and does it all with purpose, with reason, and makes fascinating points. And did I mention this game is legitimately hilarious? That cannot be understated. This is an unironic, sincere recommendation to just play Undertale. Unless you hate RPGs and this kind of game, you will not regret the time doing so. Good work, Toby. Deltarune, when? We're getting down to it now, lads. Let's take a look at number 2, the Dark Demon Blood series. Yes, that's right, I'm cheating. I'm grouping Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 and Bloodborne all together. As I stand here before you now, in the year of our Lord 2020, there's exactly one AAA studio that I have faith in. That studio is From Software. And it wasn't always this way. I played Demon Souls back in, I don't know, 2012 or so. And of course, Demon Souls doesn't count because Demon Souls came out in 2009, so that's not part of the list here. But of course, it was the precursor to what was to come with the unbelievable success of the Dark Souls series. The customizability of these knights, the ability to use magic and explore a world that has long since faded like the fires that once filled it, and allows you, the player, to go around, pick up items, read descriptions, talk to the occasional NPC, and piece together what the fuck happened here, all while engaging in some incredibly satisfying gameplay relating to swinging swords, using shields, shooting magic, and watching your stamina bar. Bloodborne, of course, being just a little bit different, with the playstyle involving you being more aggressive and attacking enemies fast and all that shit. Perhaps I'm being unfair, but I'm grouping these things all together because they are so similar in playstyle and in tone. There are different mysteries to discover in these games. Obviously, Bloodborne has its Victorian horror element that changes into the Lovecraftian element. The surprise of finding that on release night, which is when I bought the game, was one of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had with a video game. In short, these games have been talked to death by critics for this last decade, so I think we're pretty much all on board with saying,
very good.
Alright everybody, let's focus up here. We've covered my top 19 favorite things so far, with just the number 1 spot remaining. But before we get there, let's do a couple of quick honorable mentions. Rapid fire. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Obviously an important game, but something I think of as more of a Hall of Fame, because I'm not that good at fighting games. Avengers Infinity War. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Kiro Bonito, Bonito Generation. Sequelitis, Mega Man X. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. It's just on here for gameplay. Don't worry. The Grand Budapest Hotel, LMFAO's legendary album, Sorry for Party Rocking, Nier Automata, Celeste, Konosuba, Legend of Crimson, Minecraft, which technically released in 2011, really all of Matthew Matos's work, which I can't find one that I love more than anything on my top 20, but just deserves recognition regardless. Hoshino Samidare, aka Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, which I slip in here and not in the top 20, only because it started in 2005 and finished in 2010. So it counts, right? It's good enough for an honorable mention.
Oh, and I almost forgot an important one that almost made it onto the top 20 list. Hamilton, an American musical. The only pure musical that I've actually given a shit about since, of course, the SpongeBob musical. I mean, with songs like My Shop, Satisfied, Nonstop, You'll Be Back, holy shit, this was a trip. The entire soundtrack is amazing. You should absolutely go listen to it. I never even saw the musical because it's tragically trapped on Broadway by these elitist fucks. They need to release it in some sort of video production on Netflix or whatever so we can actually consume the thing. Also, there's a bunch of great AMVs that I don't know when I'll get a chance to mention otherwise, so I will link them in the description. Check it out.
And last but not least, Patreon.com, the website.
needs to be
I think we all have our
20%
problems with
lower.
Patreon's practices here and there, but it's hard to ignore how much influence this website has had on all of our lives, starting in 2013. We may not stay with it forever, but I've sure been glad that it existed up to this point, so thanks, Patreon. I hope perhaps we come to accommodation, but regardless, hope things go well. And here we come to it, the final number 1 spot on this top 20 things of the decade list. And it is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I know I'm doing this list a little strangely, lumping in the Dark Souls and the Bloodborne games in one slot and putting Sekiro above it, but if Bloodborne was so much of a better game, I would have lumped everything together and just put that on top. But Sekiro is the game that stands out to me, both in style, both in tone, and in execution. It truly does stand apart, and it is in those ways that it stands apart from the other FromSoft Dark Demon Blood games that makes it One of my favorite games of all time. Well, the Dark Demon Blood games
It
were
needs
kind
to
of
be about
horror
20%
games that
cooler.
focused much on stealth elements of surprise and predicting where enemies will be, and observation of your environment, etc., etc. Sekiro has all those things as well, but with one crucial addition, that being actually good combat. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating. I love the combat of the Dark Demon Blood games, but Sekiro truly takes it to the next level. As I've long been craving games that kind of evolve my understanding of swordplay. I've always thought it was a bunch of bullshit, how you just swing at each other with swords, there's no clashing, there's no anything fancy that real swordsmen would do, or at least stylized swordsmen would do, as we understand it in our cultural unconscious. Where's the clashing? Where's the riposting? Where's the countering of these things? All the games I played are too simplistic. But Sekiro, at last, was a huge step forward. The posture bar and the defensive way that you use your katana being the X factor here. Now we have a style that's a more realistic way of how a sword fight would go, with you attempting to bash down your opponent's sword so that you can get in the one stab that it would actually take in real life to kill an opponent. Not like Final Fantasy VII where you swing your giant sword 1,000 times and then eventually they die. No, no, no. This is about lowering defenses and then boom, you're in their fucking heart, one and done. It's the way I've always dreamed of sword fights going in video games. I just didn't know it until now. This combined with the unique, wonderful atmosphere of Sengoku-era Japan, fighting for the survival of one of these nation states as the world begins to change around them and Ashina is falling into ash. It needs to be propped up by the dragon's blood, a foreign invading life force that gives unnatural undeath to the citizens, that is directly in opposition to the traditional Japanese philosophies of the ephemeral nature of life, represented of course by cherry blossoms or sakura, which the Sakura dragon opposes. I mean, I'm sure I'm not gonna lie to you boys,
I love Japan, period.
there's something about it, man. It just hits that perfect sweet spot. I've played through the game so many times now. I've played it on high levels of difficulty. I probably haven't committed this much time at getting good at a video game since Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix back in like 2009. It's this perfect refinement of Dark Souls style combined with elevated action that I've been dying for while keeping all the best features of the rest of the games. And surprisingly, giving a great story about the characters that are still around and are interactable with to this day. Yes, with this game you lose some of the freedom of the choices you had in those more open-ended games, but personally, I am so willing to pay that cost for what we get as a result. Everybody's got their specific things they like in games, right? Well, I found some of mine.
One other feature of the game
needs
that
to be about
totally changes
20%
the
cooler.
experience of playing through is the addition of your grapple hook and how that adds so much vertical mobility to the game. Whereas opposed to going back to old Dark Souls games and ones like that, you feel so attached to the ground, so plunked down in the world and kind of depowered as a result of it. I've always thought that it's odd that you're like this god-killing creature that runs around slaying everything of power, yet you're stuck on the ground the whole time. But in Sekiro, the verticality and the freedom you have using the grapple hook, something I was extremely
It needs to be
skeptical
about
of at the
20%
beginning
cooler.
as a gimmick feature, turned out to be one of the most freeing
needs
and
to be
actually
about 20%
fun
cooler.
features of the game. Absolutely fantastic.
In short, it's a highly honorable
It's an
game.
improvement.
And that's why it's my #1 top thing of the decade. Congratulations to everybody and all the things on this list. And there's plenty more good stuff, obviously. These are just my favorite things that I could think of at the time of this recording. I may change my mind in the future. I may experience some of those things I mentioned at the beginning that I haven't consumed in a while or ever. And maybe one day we'll revisit this and see what changes have occurred. And with that, it's time to put the crown down until next time and move on to the packages. Time to transition. Hey everybody, before we get to the packages, a little bit of an announcement right now.
It needs to be
It's
about
the end of
20%
season
cooler.
3 of Weagawa! Did you know Weagawa has seasons? Well, now you do. I was tempted not to mention this at all for the video, but I figured I should, at least for the packages, if nothing else. I have decided that coming into this new year and this new decade, I am going to pause
It needs to be
production
about
on
20%
Weagawas
cooler.
for the next while. If you're interested in hearing my full, lengthy thoughts on the matter, there is a big post on my Patreon that you can go look at. It's public, it's free. Feel free to take a look there. I detail my full justification as to why I'm doing it and let my patrons know of this change. But in short, the main reason is because I want to use this time to work on my bigger projects instead of Weagawas. As I think everybody knows, I've had a couple projects on the back burner for a while, and I would like to be able to find the time to finally get them done. But that up to this point has been a bit of a squeeze, considering all the other projects I've been working on. And that's even considering I've been working with an editor for the last several Weagwa. Did you notice? Probably not, right? At their request, I didn't tell anyone that I was working with an editor until this point, but hey, now you know. All these videos here were edited by them. But nonetheless, the reality has been I still need more time to work on other projects. When it comes to how I want this channel to be in the future, I'm kind of thinking back to the past where there were more of those big, dedicated, best anime ever type videos that I think everybody has been waiting for a long time. And when I think about the other projects I'm working on, I feel that the need for more rapid fire, quick release content is being met in other places. The Procrastinators podcast I do weekly, the Podcast, if you care about One Piece, and perhaps most significantly recently, Content, that me and Digibro are doing. Content is designed to be a show that's gonna come out twice weekly or so, in which we discuss more recent, more timely releases of whatever, kinda similar to what I've been doing with Weagwa recently. And considering that I have that venue, it's seeming a little redundant to make those kind of Weagwas, some of which have overlapped. So I'm hoping you folks will be interested in that, while I take a little bit more time on this channel to produce bigger, hopefully more interesting content. And I have one other thing to mention about Content, which is that me and Digi are essentially reviving the old Weebcast that we used to do, discussing every seasonal anime in big block videos. By the time you see this video, at the very least, the first episode of that should be out. Those were beloved back in the day, and we're bringing on special guests such as Man Mode and Jack is Boy to talk with about these new shows, and I'm super fucking excited about it. I hope you will be too, so go check out Content, but stay tuned on this channel for more of the big releases. I'm not looking to take any more time off. I'm not looking to slack on my responsibilities. I'm looking to devote more time, if anything, just to producing content that is more desirable and more interesting to all of you. So hopefully, for everybody, this should be an upgrade. But before we wrap up this last Weagwa for the next while, we've got one more package to open. Now would be a good time to stop sending those for the next while until I tell you that I'll be doing them again. I may do one here and there, I may decide to do it at any given time, but I cannot promise that they will be weekly anymore. It's Weagwa whenever for the next while, boys. Let's open this up. Now, this appears to be a package all the way from Germany from a young man named Johann S. Let's see what he's got for us. This is the last package I have left. I hope it has quality. Let's find out.
It's an improvement, Johnny.
Okay, let's see what we've got. I am seeing a bunch of stuff in here. Let's start with this. This is a Kinder Bueno. Looks delicious.
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
We've got 8 plus
It needs
2
to be about 20% cooler.
Knoppers. How nice. I'm seeing a Funko Pop here, but I can't tell what it is. Oh, wait.
For me, for Equestria.
It is an Uncle Iroh Funko Pop. Love the character. Want to kill myself that I own a Funko Pop. And we've got a book here. Jeez, this thing is packed. Let's see what we got. Volume 1 of Parasite. A beloved manga, as I understand it. Oh shit, this is actually like a classic one. I forgot that the anime is like a new adaptation of an old-ish series. Fascinating. I will definitely check it out. And now let's get to Johann's letter. Here we go. This is the last letter we may read for a good long while on Weagwa. Let's hope it's good. Yo, Nate. Have you heard of the best anime ever, Avatar: The Last Airbender? Of course you have. Everyone knows and loves this shit. Here's an Iroh so you can always remember his hot wisdom. It's a Funko Pop, yeah, whatever, that's all you get. Thanks, buddy.
Donnie.
Serious question though, what is your general opinion on fandoms and internet communities? Obviously you're a fan of a lot of stuff, but from what I've seen, you're very hesitant to associate yourself with certain groups of people who share your interest or do stuff you are doing. For example, anime YouTuber is arguably a fitting description of your job if you go out of your way to make it explicitly clear you don't see yourself as an Any-tuber. Are you afraid of the connotations such words hold, or do you just enjoy being a lone cuck? Please elaborate. Best wishes, Doji. P.S. Have you watched Hunter x Hunter 2011? Jesus Christ, what are you doing? No, I'll get to it one of these days, I guess. I don't know, I read the manga. Fuck off. On the back, there is a sticker of One Piece kids and Jinbei crying saying, "Notice me, Oda Sensei." Hilarious. When it comes to fandoms and internet communities, I basically want the freedom to choose who and what I associate with as much autonomy as possible. It's true, I am not a fan of labels. The one label that I kind of happily ascribe myself is member of the Procrastinators, or the Procrastinators podcast. That's my group of hand-selected friends that I like, I respect, happy to work with regularly, and I plan to do so for the duration. Beyond that, I mean, I'm happy to talk to anybody. I'm happy to associate with anybody individual. I'm happy to basically discuss any idea anybody wants to on its merits. But I just don't like being pigeonholed, you know? Perhaps I'm resistant to this idea because I want the freedom to make videos about anything. And yes, it's true. I primarily do discuss anime for a number of reasons. Some of which are purely practical in that it's a lot easier to make a video about an anime than a video game. Because footage can be different and blah, blah, blah. Anime is static, you know? It just works, it's just there, it's what you need. But hell, if I want to make a video about fitness, if I want to make a vlog one day, if I want to do any of this kind of shit, I don't want people being like, oh, you just make anime videos, so we don't want this shit. You know, largely, I think I've kind of escaped this at this point. I don't think anyone's gonna be mad when I make videos not necessarily about anime or whatever. So perhaps some of this is just old feelings being continued on into the future, when really there's no need for it anymore. And when you step back and look at my catalog, look at my big productions, what I'm most known for, I mean, yeah, that is anime content for the most part. But is that what makes you an anituber? You know, big A anituber? Or is it choosing to be part of that community intentionally, specifically? I don't know. Depending on your definition, I either fit that or don't. It's up to every individual. I guess I just want to be thought of as me, not just another cog in a big machine. And that's why I love doing this shit here, man. It's my little space to say whatever the fuck I want to and talk to nice people like Doji. And even though we're gonna be suspending Weagua now, I hope to keep interacting with everybody on all kinds of mediums, on Kant, and on the PCP, and the podcast, and here. I just want to make content that I put more of my soul into, you know? That doesn't come into people's sub box and they immediately roll their eyes, but rather, they're excited. Because that's my favorite content creators. That's how I feel when they upload. So even if you folks love Weaguas, and I enjoy making them as well, I'm just trying to make something, perhaps, a bit loftier. And hell, I've got the ideas, I just need to make the time to get to them, so that's what I'm gonna do. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege and an honor, but I think it's the last time to bring a close to what may be our final Weagua. Hey everybody, if you want to support me in my continuing work, because I'm going to be working harder than ever on this channel, I hope that you'll go to patreon.com/bestguyever and support me there. Or alternatively, Subscribestar works just as well. You get all the same rewards and benefits. $1 patrons get into my Discord chat. $5 patrons get the BGE monthly cast, where I've given even more information about my thought processes on some of these changes I'm making. And the $10 ones get to ask questions that I answer specifically on that podcast in long, rambling tangents. It's a good time. You know what I'm gonna say, everybody? Check out the Procrastinators podcast I do weekly.
One other little bit of Procrastinators news. Oh, it's nothing big. It's just RadCon for Paradise! Kickstarter has officially launched to make RadCon for Paradise happen. I don't know if you guys have seen the RadCons in the past. It's been 2 years since RadCon 3. It was a massive success, and we're back again to do it again. So if you want to get back rewards or make sure that the thing goes off and we hit our stretch goals and do all kinds of crazy content, click the link in the card and down below and etc. to go to the Kickstarter page and donate to get the rewards and content you crave. Check it out.
Check out the Podcast One Piece videos. Check out Content and those hot Weebcast 2.0 spin-off shows that are coming on there soon. Watch my weekly Nuzlocke streams at twitch.tv/definitelyBestGuyEver. Things are getting spicy in there, man. You're gonna want to see my 2 giant rock balls, I promise. It's been an honor and a privilege, everybody. I may see you here on a Weagua. Hell, sooner than we all think. There's gonna be videos on Best Guy Ever coming in your sub feed regularly, I promise. Have a real one out there, everybody. Happy New Year, and Papa bless.
anybody yet.
Is that true? Oh yeah, okay. You will though.
And
There
I just
were
hear-
intentions
There it is.
Oh, you had the best.
Tom
Tom, you
got
had
the
the
kill.
best gun. Well,
We're gonna be
you
talking
had the
over
coolest
it, but I
gun.
want to
I
let
still-
you guys know
I still
that
play
it's
with my
here
gun
that
to
I
this
start
day.
my
It's
character
great.
arc. It's
Yo,
here that I start
Tom-
my character arc of being a gay person who is going to turn to a bisexual and then finally convince himself that he is straight.
Yeah. By the way, Tom had the sick Halo gun assault rifle thing. It was dope, and we all loved it, and we're jealous.
Yeah, it unloaded like a whole volley of like 10 bullets per shot.
The problem was, as you will see in this footage, is that it takes forever to reload.
Yeah,
so every
it's got
time I
clips.
kill somebody, I immediately had to run away and reload for like an hour.
Why
Dude,
is
the camera is
Victor,
loving me.
Why,
The
yeah, why is
camera's
Victor just
loving me
following
right now.
you around?
Because he knows what the people want to see. They
Because
want to see
Nate's
the main.
staying in the center of the house, and Victor hasn't really tried to move out of the center of the house because that's where he thinks the action's.
Oh, fucking
Oh, Nate's been
Christ.
killed. By who?
By
think
Tom.
Tom.
By Tom. Oh shit!
Oh, now Tom's got me as well.
Wait, no,
wait,
it's
no,
dead
he
yet.
didn't
You
kill
haven't
me. He
fought-
missed. Oh, and I got
you
him.
You got him.
As you see here, I'm trying
Oh,
to.
and then
There's
I
me
get
fucking
gun.
unloading from
Fucking-
above.
God
Oh,
damn.
he's wearing my hat. You can't wear my hat.
He's cut you and taken your culture. Ben is
Oh,
going
I'm
ahead
gonna
right
fucking
now.
kill this
Ben is
guy.
3-0. I'm 0-2.
Oh, my first death.
Oh,
My first
there he
death of the
Guys,
game.
I just want to remind you,
Yeah.
$9,000.
$9,165, everyone. There
I
it
just
is.
want you all to know, if anyone were to go through this footage, like, because I've seen all this like multiple times, it's actually really fascinating that everyone's gun choices led to very different strategies. Like,
Sure,
Tom, pretty much anyone he encounters, he kills, but because he has to reload for so long, can't like keep a lead. Hippo,
there he
Hippo's
goes.
gun only fires one bullet at a time, but it's so accurate that
Yeah, it's
he
a
almost
sniper.
always kills whoever he shoots.
Fucking bolt
So-
action sniper.
Yeah, and I had a gun that fires 50 consecutive rounds if I want to, but it's so inaccurate that I would just get my ass handed to me every one I encountered because I could just not hit anybody. And in spite of having 50 bullets, I'd run through all of them really fast. trying to hit.
And my gun shot bullets that could only connect with people's feet, and they didn't even work 90% of the time. I only got to shoot my cars one time.
That's right. And it's
Munchie
done.
just
It's over.
hanging out in the closet, having been killed once and accomplished nothing.
Trying
pretty
to make
great.
my gun work.
Look at fucking Gib though. He's ahead right now with his fucking sniper. He's 4-2.
Oh yeah,
I finally got
my
one
KD
kill.
Hippo
ratio's the
destroys this
best.
fucking, like, he's like just on top of everything.
By the way, I want to comment. So
Gibbs is also
I'm
the
like
smallest
ducking right
target.
now.
He's-
There's fire
he's-
coming from above me right now. I think it was Digi. I don't know. But I want to say, so I have two pump action. Oh, there I died. I have two
Gotcha,
pump action
bitch.
individual handguns where each one, like, the problem is this gun doesn't work dual wielding them. It's one shot each, then you have to pump it with your other hand that currently has a gun. It was literally the worst possible choice.
Oh, Nate's getting teabagged.
Oh, I
Not
fucking
even by
am.
his own murderer.
God damn it. Oh shit.
Oh no!
Got
A
it.
rare moment of Ben being bested.
Damn, okay, these scores are climbing. Oh my god, I'm fucking
Yeah, except for me, who I've just
nightmarishly.
died twice.
Well, okay, but Digi's doing well. Digi's up to 4, Gibbs up to 5, Ben's up to 4.
My
It's a division.
KD is 1-1 though, and Hippo's just gunned me down again.
no.
That's true, damn.
Just every time I encounter Hippo, he gets me. His accuracy is just way too beneficial over my fucking
Oh,
shit ass.
teabag, there it is.
Yeah, I got it.
Fucking Gib.
Rev!
These fucking cheaters,
There
man.
were no
Everyone's
refs.
fucking cheating.
As you can see, I've completely given up, and I'm just like trying to cock my gun back and forth with like no words.
Munchie
Wait,
is
listen.
just. Munchie is just there.
Desperately trying to get my gun to even work.
Munchie is just there to
I
feed.
just been trying to get. Someone just came in and fucking shot me.
Munchie's just there to feed everyone else's kill count.
Funnily enough, Hippo actually did go in the room to do that as well, but I did not count it as a kill because he missed. He shot at Munchie and missed, or like just hit his arm, and so it did not count as a kill.
Okay,
despite
sure.
the
I
fact
thought
that he
I
attempted.
saw the
Me and
that it
Nate
went
have killed
in
each
his
other.
truck.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we did. We did.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
currently...
yeah, that was,
How
on
did
the
Hippo? How did you get so
floor?
many kills with that gun?
No.
It's super accurate. Every time he shot somebody, they die.
Yeah, he just... He
Watch this.
waited.
Bam. Got you right there. He's
Oh, me
a
and
proper
Digi had our
sniper.
moment.
I love being the sniper. It's so fun. That
pretty
gun
great.
is my favorite thing to ever. If I could have brought it back on the plane, I would have.
For what it's worth, it's currently sitting in my car and has been since Radcom 3.
Please take care
Yeah,
of
that
it.
thing
I
looks
will come
beautiful.
back
Look at the
together.
size of it.
Such a monster.
Oh,
it was so
oh,
funny,
God
Gib,
damn it.
you to have this gun because it was so much. It was like almost as big as you were.
That's true.
And him with the trench coat and the giant gun looks awesome.
He's
like,
8'3". Yeah, he looks like a great school
really
shooter. My
good-
hero.
Oh, Tom's just gunned him down like, in cold blood.
Here's
I had
where
to take
Ben's
my
also
revenge.
taking
Taking
his
a
gun.
Yo, check this out, guys. Look.
Oh, Tom's pulling
Me and
ahead.
Munchie.
Tom's
I
tied
have
with
just
me.
given Munchie one of my 2 guns, so he now has something to fight with. You're welcome, world.
He could come back from his fucking.
There he goes.
He's got to fucking make us pay
And
for
my
those
gun
3
jams,
kills.
and it won't shoot, and I immediately die again.
Just kill yourself.
Oh no! Oh jeez, Tom, you racked up 3 kills so fast. Holy shit!
Yeah, no kidding.
So I just go sit in
I
the corner
had like
and
a
just
few
change my
clips,
life.
but as
Yeah,
soon as those
but
clips are out, I just start dying.
Yeah,
came out
Tom
to a
is now
strong
going to
start.
stand there and load his gun for like a straight 2 minutes.
But I'm
It's
losing my
brutal.
momentum.
Yeah, it's you get like these little bursts of like greatness, and then there's just nothing.
Yeah, well, sure, that's how it goes.
What is going
Oh,
on
fuck.
with Munchie's footage right now?
I'm just right up to next to a corner. I'm in a corner right now. I'm sad.
Yeah, he's sitting in the corner sad.
It needs to be about
I
20%
know that.
cooler.
So at this point, I get locked by Tom because every time I get up, he comes back and kills me
Got him.
again. And,
Got him.
That's how my death ratio got so bad.
Yeah. Look at these beautifully animated. All these individual numbers were individually put there by our lovely editor, Mr. Give and Take Hypocrite.
Yeah, the effort is real.
Yes,
Ben
after
made the
I
overlay.
went through and fucking counted every single goddamn
This was a
kill across
team
the
effort.
Yeah, I made.
was a big help.
I made the metal grading and the overlay and stuff. I didn't notice until just now that the health goes down from 100 to 0 when you die. That's
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Look at me crawling over to.
Does
fucking
anybody ever
Munchie.
lose like partial hit points? Because I know
No,
there's parts where we get
all I
hit in
could
the
be
arm.
bothered
Yeah.
to do was like change, like crop that 100 to make it 0 because it was just part of like the moving heads animation.
Yeah.
So I would have had to like
Have
look at
actual
the text
wake
file.
box.
Fucking headshot!
God
That that blood curdling scream.
damn. Right in the fucking dome.
That bullet
made me
is what I'm saying.
Is this the part of the arc where you've gone fully gay?
Yeah, I've gone full gay. I used to be bisexual, now I was straight, and then I turned gay.
Incredible.
Man, I don't remember sucking this bad.
I don't remember getting 1 kill.
You got.
This is it. You've
I
made
murdered.
me gay, and you've unleashed my inner bloodlust.
Yeah.
My bloodlust rivals my lust for cock, my cock lust.
Dude, the stairways were a real action central point where everything was going on those front stairs. What?
I'm camping. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to turn this fucking corner. Digi looks like a real criminal with his fucking weed
With the
bandana.
bandana, yeah, the
Am
weed
I
just
bandana.
I think I'm like crouching behind where Hippo is. I'm like
You're-
crouching
how
How
did
did
you
you
end
end
up
up
reload?
dying so many
Yeah,
times?
Yeah.
Your gun was
Ben's
fucking
kind of just
amazing.
decided that if he's reloading, he looks dead, so he's
That's
just
true.
kind of sitting there.
That's true.
I
And
wasn't
nobody's
sure
attacking
when to
him because
have,
they
like,
can't tell if
death
he's alive.
count for because people got up when they got up.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to decide. Oh, there goes Ben again.
My thought
And
process
there
with the
he goes.
reloading was that when you die in a game, your ammo's reloaded when you respawn. So you don't spawn
Yeah.
with an empty gun.
Yeah.
Look at him who has 12 fucking kills.
12 kills, yeah. Tom's at 10, though. Tom's at 10.
Oh my
I'm at
god.
2.
The round is over.
Oh, it's over! It's
Oh.
over!
Okay.
Well.
So is it?
I'll take the silver.
Needs to be about
I think
Yeah.
it's fair to say that Hippo, like, unqualified
Well,
is the
I mean,
victor.
Tom's ratio is better.
Oh, no,
Is
it's
it? No,
kill.
it's
It's
not.
kills.
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
what's
kills,
10,
man.
10 divided by 6 is 1.66, and 12 divided by 7 is 1. Oh no, Hippo's is slightly better. Never mind. Okay.
Well, hooray. Yeah,
close.
okay.
Fucking, you can
Physics
look at it and
degree,
see that the
everybody.
math is fucking
I'll
not
fucking
that.
look at
Come
your
on.
math if you'll have me, friend.
Well, Hippo's our winner. Congratulations.
Oh,
He is the
well, thank
supreme
you.
gun.
What a surprise! The editor was the one who came out.
I'm the one who built the KD ratio, though.
That's true.
And I reported
Hippo comes
in spite of the fact that I did that so I could get like the kills that I didn't think other people would notice that I did. In spite of that, I still counted enormous deaths for myself. I died the most. Well, actually, Nate tied me up, so that's.
Oh, that's true. We
We have the same.
Man, I just
KD
like
ratio.
did nothing after the first couple of minutes. I accomplished nothing.
Ben, that was the exact opposite. The entire first 3/4 of the round was just me pitifully
needs to be
just
about 20
squandering
percent
any
cooler.
opportunities to do anything. I was trying to load those fucking automobiles into that fucking gun. It wouldn't work. Even when it did work, I had to lay it on the ground to shoot the cars and have them roll on the ground to hit the feet of the opponent. It was never going to work, and I just spent the entire round just like shoving car after car into my gun and having it jam over and over again. And I had to bang it on the side of the wall to make the cars stumble out so I could do it all over again.
It's tough.
What a nightmare.
So much happened in this one brief 11-minute or 10-minute round or whatever it was. But that one moment when I don't know, me and Digi, I don't think it was in this round, but it was me and Digi were collapsed in a pile on top of each other, screaming at each other. The moment that was a great one. The moment of me passing the gun to Munchie so he could play, giving up one of my 2 guns. I just forgive me for jacking myself off, but I think it was the most magical moment of the entire round.
It was very magical.
It was magical.
You made
This
me a
whole thing
bisexual
is magical.
that day.
Indeed.
I think we need to take a look at our sponsors here who have funded this expedition.
Sponsoring this episode of television, we have our Kickstarter dads, and I just want to say right off the bat, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we didn't do this at Radcon.
I think we can all say that.
We forgot to shout you
I'm
out.
sorry, Dad. One, two,
Okay.
three.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Dad.
Dad, I let you down.
We all let you down. We let
I
all
tried all my best.
all of you down.
Wherever you are.
No, this is
I wanna
literally
let you know
better.
that I'm
This is
sorry.
literally better than doing it at Radcon to get thanked now.
Yeah,
This
we were
incredible
busy, but,
masterpiece. These are sponsors.
But yeah, these are our sponsors for today's sports event. We got an image in the chat here. This is all the people. So first up, we got Figerson.
Figerson, if I remember correctly, Figerson I think was backer number 1, if I remember correctly. So
shit.
I think he was. So thanks, buddy.
Holy
thanks
shit.
a lot.
The
Thanks a lot.
original dad.
The original dad.
How many dads do we have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Next
10,
we got
12.
David Thoth.
13.
David Thoth, I'm saying that right. David
Todd.
That must be the first name
Spooky.
of our main man Thoth.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Good old
Then we
Chip.
got Chip Wiseman.
Yeah, the
yes.
draw
I know.
individual. I know this guy. He's always drawing things. Keep it up. Thanks, buddy.
We got Mike the Media
Mike
Dragon.
the Media Dragon, as opposed to the other types of dragon that exist in the real world.
Remember that butter dragon from Undertale? Remember that?
No.
Remember that guy? Remember that secret guy? That's
I'm
what I'm
sure
picturing.
he would appreciate
I
that you
don't-
bring that up on his.
I don't know these.
Spike the Dragon?
No,
Spike
no.
at your service?
Oh, the worst.
More like Mike the Media Dragon at your service, is what I'm saying.
Service
much better.
being the dad, giving the
We
money.
are
That's the kind of
This
service I
is
like.
our college
What the
diploma.
fuck are we talking about? Who's the next
We're reading the
sponsor?
dad.
Yeah. Let's let us proceed with our dads.
Ben, read the
We
next
have-
one. Ben.
Wait, where is it?
It's in the goddamn
It's in the
chat,
chat.
you fool.
Is it?
It's right
oh,
there.
here we go. Oh, we've got a Black Forest.
Ham.
Is probably some
Yes.
kind of elf, I think.
Some kind
It
of
sounds
ham,
like the name of
goddammit.
some kind of sinister